My name is Cheryl, a 33-year-old writer whose first mystery novel catapulted me into success. I've been married to Thomas for 8 years, and together we have a 7-year-old son, Gary. When my writing career took off, Thomas left his job to stay home, occasionally indulging in trips to the casino to play slot machines. It seemed like a reasonable arrangement at the time, but beneath the surface, cracks were forming. Recently, I discovered that Thomas was having an affair. Worse still, he was using my credit card to shower his mistress with lavish gifts. I endured the betrayal in silence, hoping to shield our son from the storm, but the weight of it all became unbearable. One morning, Thomas surprised me by dressing in a suit, a rare occurrence since he'd stopped working. Curious, I asked where he was headed. He faltered briefly before claiming he had a job interview. His words offered a flicker of hope that he might finally take responsibility again. I wished him luck, silently rooting for a change. That hope crumbled when he returned home at 2 a.m., reeking of alcohol and perfume. He collapsed onto the sofa, his phone slipping from his hand and landing, unlocked, on the cushion beside him. My chest tightened as I picked it up. What I found confirmed my worst fears. The texts on his phone revealed not only the affair but also the identity of his mistress, Gloria, my close friend and confidant. They had been dining at upscale restaurants, sharing moments he had never shared with me. Stunned, I forwarded the messages to my own phone, knowing I needed time to process the betrayal and decide what to do. The following morning, Thomas acted as though nothing had happened. His casual demeanor only fueled my anger. I confronted him lightly, masking my true feelings. "So, how did the interview go?" I asked. "It went fine," he replied, avoiding my gaze. "I ran into a friend afterward and grabbed a drink." "A friend? Someone I know?" I pressed. "Do I have to tell you everything?" he snapped, deflecting. His defensiveness confirmed the truth I already knew. Over the next few weeks, I wrestled with what to do. Confronting him could mean ending our marriage, but the thought of disrupting Gary's life made me hesitate. Meanwhile, Thomas seemed emboldened by my silence, disappearing more frequently and leaving behind a trail of clues. One afternoon, while he was out, I combed through his belongings and found receipts for expensive gifts, luxury items I had never seen in our home. It was clear they were for Gloria. My heart sank as I realized he was using the emergency credit card I had tucked away, blending his purchases with my work expenses to cover his tracks. Desperate for clarity, I decided to follow him. I arranged for my brother to watch Gary, fabricating an excuse about needing to shop alone. My brother was skeptical but agreed, giving me the freedom I needed. From a safe distance, I trailed Thomas through the city. My stomach churned when I saw him enter an upscale boutique, arm in arm with Gloria. They laughed and browsed, their closeness a painful confirmation of their relationship. I watched in silence as Thomas handed over my credit card at the register, the very card he had stolen from my drawer. In that moment, the depth of his betrayal became clear, not just as a husband but as a person I had trusted implicitly. Tears threatened to fall, but I steeled myself, capturing photos of the two of them for proof before slipping away. Back home, I dug deeper, combing through his computer for more evidence. His carelessness left a digital trail of their plans, including an upcoming 6-day getaway. The knowledge filled me with a strange calm. This was my opportunity. With every piece of evidence I collected, my resolve solidified. I would confront him, not with anger, but with the weight of the truth he could no longer deny. My decision was no longer just about ending a marriage. It was about reclaiming my life. I muttered to myself, a mixture of resolve and despair clouding my thoughts. The plan was clear: confront Thomas and settle things while he was away with his lover. But one major obstacle loomed: Gary. Shielding my son from the truth of his father's betrayal while executing my plan would be a delicate balancing act. Reluctantly, I turned to my brother for help again. "I hate to ask, but can you take care of Gary during the holidays?" I asked, trying to sound nonchalant. "The holidays? All 6 days?" he replied, suspicion evident in his tone. "Yes, I have something important to take care of," I said, forcing calm into my voice. "Something important," he repeated, his piercing gaze suggesting he saw right through me. After a pause, he continued, "Cheryl, you don't have to handle this alone." His words startled me. "What do you mean?" I asked, barely above a whisper. "Thomas is cheating, isn't he?" he said bluntly. My heart skipped a beat. "How did you?" I stammered, but he cut me off. "I heard it from Gary," he said softly. The air left my lungs. "Gary?" My brother nodded. "He's a smart kid, Cheryl. He's seen enough to understand. He mentioned something about seeing Thomas with another woman. The revelation hit me like a tidal wave. Gary knew. My attempts to shield him had failed. I thought I'd hidden the tension and sadness in our home, but Gary, observant and intuitive, had noticed it all. Why? My brother asked gently. Why are you still putting up with this? Thomas's actions have already hurt you, and now Gary too. Are you really going to stay with him? Before I could answer, Gary wandered into the room, his small frame carrying a determination beyond his years. It's okay, Mom, he said, his voice steady. I don't want anyone who makes you sad. As long as I have you, I'll be fine. His words shattered my defenses, and tears welled in my eyes. I hugged him tightly, whispering, "Thank you, sweetheart, you're so brave." Turning to my brother, I added, "Thank you, too." Buoyed by their support, I finally felt the strength to take the next step. Quietly, we began to pack, timing everything for Thomas's trip with Gloria. My brother helped us, his steady presence a much-needed anchor. The evening before Thomas was set to leave, I decided to confront him. I found him in our bedroom, packing a suitcase. "Thomas," I said, feigning ignorance, "what's the suitcase for?" "Oh, this?" he replied casually. "I'm going on a trip with some friends tomorrow." "A trip? That's sudden. Why didn't you mention it earlier?" I asked, pressing lightly. "It was a last-minute plan, just a quick getaway," he said, avoiding my gaze. "I'm using my monthly allowance." "Are you sure it's just with friends?" I asked, my tone calm but pointed. Thomas tensed, his hand faltering on the zipper of his bag. "You're really pushing, aren't you?" he muttered. "Enjoy your trip," I said, my voice laced with irony. "I will," he replied, though his tone lacked conviction. That night, as he packed obliviously, I steeled myself for the final move. The next morning, as soon as he left, I checked the drawer where I kept my emergency credit card. As expected, it was gone. Without hesitation, I called the card company and reported it lost. They deactivated it immediately, cutting off his access. When Gary woke up, he came to me with a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Mom, today's the day, right? The day we move to our new house?" I knelt beside him, brushing his hair back gently. "Yes, sweetheart, today's the day," I said, my voice firm with determination. With my son at my side and the support of my brother, I was ready to leave the pain behind. A new chapter awaited, one where we could build a life free from deceit and heartbreak. A wave of relief washed over me as Gary's enthusiasm rekindled my resolve. "Yes, Gary," I said with a reassuring smile. "I've cancelled the credit card, and now it's time for us to start fresh in our new home." With my brother's help, the move went smoothly. We transported our belongings to our new house, leaving behind a space that once held both love and betrayal. My husband's possessions were sent elsewhere, to a destination he wasn't expecting. By the next day, as my son and I settled into our new home with my brother's steadfast support, a profound sense of peace and hope for the future began to fill me. The first call came not long after. "Hello? Cheryl?" Thomas's voice was hesitant. "What is it?" I asked, already suspecting his motive. "Well, this trip is turning out to be more expensive than I expected," he began. "Could you send me some money?" His indirect plea was met with icy calm. "Didn't you budget for this trip on your own?" I replied. "I'm sorry, but I can't help you." His frustration bubbled through the line. "Don't be like that. If you don't help me, I'll be the only one not enjoying this trip." "You mean the only one, period," I corrected, letting the weight of my words sink in. He faltered. "What are you talking about?" "Thomas, the card you took is no longer valid," I said, my tone sharp. "You'll have to manage without it." "I don't know what you're accusing me of," he began, but I cut him off. "Enough with the lies." My voice was firm, years of bottled frustration spilling out. "I know about your affair with Gloria. Did you think I was blind? You betrayed this family, Thomas. Don't insult me further by pretending otherwise." The denial came, desperate and unconvincing. "It's not what you think. I'm not cheating." I didn't hold back. "Stop. You've already lost everything, and now you're grasping at straws. You betrayed me, your son, and the life we built together. Do not call me again unless it's to talk about child support." I ended the call, my heart pounding. Moments later, the phone buzzed again. "Cheryl, what on earth did you do?" Gloria's shrill voice demanded. "Ah, Gloria," I said coolly. "How's your trip going with my husband?" Her anger spilled out. "Don't play games with me." "What did you do? You got Thomas's belongings, didn't you?" I asked. Her silence told me everything. When we moved, I had ensured that all of Thomas's possessions were sent to Gloria's address. Her husband, unaware of her infidelity, had been there to receive them. Along with the boxes, I had included a letter detailing the affair. "This isn't funny," she yelled. "My husband found out, and now he's furious." "Funny? No. Justice?" "Absolutely," I retorted. "You brought this on yourself, Gloria. You betrayed me and your own husband. Actions have consequences." She tried to backtrack. "It wasn't serious. It was just a joke." "Save it," I said coldly. "Joke or not, you destroyed 2 families. I'm filing for divorce, and you'll be hearing from my lawyer. Compensation is non-negotiable." "Compensation? I can't afford that," she wailed. "That's your problem," I replied. "Maybe your ex-husband can help." "Oh wait, never mind." Before she could respond, I hung up and blocked her number. With the help of my lawyer, I finalized the divorce and pursued both alimony and child support from Thomas. Compensation for the credit card charges and the betrayal was also secured. The financial strain of their actions proved too much for Gloria's marriage. Her husband divorced her, leaving her homeless and desperate. Her parents, disgusted by her behavior, refused to take her in. Now, she works nights at a bar, struggling to rebuild her life. Thomas didn't fare much better. Gloria left him after blaming him for her downfall, and he's now juggling part-time jobs to meet his obligations. Should he fail to provide for Gary, I won't hesitate to take further action. As for me, life in our new home is peaceful. Gary is thriving, his laughter filling our days with hope and joy. My focus is on giving him the love and stability he deserves, ensuring our future is one of strength and happiness. We've left the darkness behind, and our brighter days have just begun.